Greetings. Hey, I hope everybody is doing well out there. Uh, if you are not doing so good, I am trying to start a prayer circle online. I'm going to try to get that vlog up soon. This week, I'm actually going to try to get my channel, things uploaded to my channel. I've made so many videos. I've vlogged so many food videos since October, the end of October going into November of last year, up until now. And it is March the 28th. So I'm finally starting to kind of get moving. It has been a journey. But as you can see, I'm about to make some old school salmon cakes and grits, cheese grits. Some people call them salmon croquettes, fish cakes, whatever you want to call them. Some people say Salmon instead of salmon. Some people say Solomon. And you know what? That's fine because I don't say every word right either. So, uh, if you want to say Solomon or Salmon instead of salmon, that's quite all right with me. Like I said, no one is perfect. And it's all going to eat the same, whether it's Salmon or Solomon. Anyway, I've got some two different kinds of cheeses, of shredded cheese. I have a sharp cheese. I have a Mexican cheese. I've got some Kraft cheese singles. Really, any kind of cheese you have. You can put any type of cheese in your cheese grits, and I'm sure you do if you make them. A little unsalted butter, because I am have placed myself on a reduced sodium lifestyle. Notice I didn't say diet. I have a can of pink salmon. Use any kind of pink salmon you have in a can. It could be tulip, it could be star-kissed, it could be bumblebee. I've used all different kinds. The only type of salmon that I don't like, and I've said that on another vlog that I did for salmon and rice, is a particular type of salmon that comes from a particular store, budget store, and I do not like their brand of salmon, and I'm not going to say who it is, but you probably, if you go there, you might know who I'm talking about. I have a little Old Bay. I'm just going to use a touch of that. And you don't have to. Onion powder, little Lorry seasoned salt, not a lot. Stale bread. And you can use any type of stale bread that you have. If you have stale hamburger buns, hot dog buns, any type of stale bread will work. Or you can use breadcrumbs. I found that the stale bread, for me, breaking it apart, you don't even have to crumble it up that much, but just break it up with your hands. I find that the stale bread, for me, is best when I make the salmon cakes. It's more flavorful. The texture of the salmon cakes seems better, but that's just me. If you have breadcrumbs, you can use breadcrumbs as well, but any type of stale bread. And an onion for flavor. I do have to say, some people don't like onion, but when I've left the onion out, it makes a big difference. The onion really makes a big difference for flavor in anything, but especially with these salmon cakes. And I do have some Quaker grits hiding back there. I use all type of grits, generic brand grits. They have a type of grit called Jim Dandy. They really do. Really old school type of grit, but whatever type of grits you have is cool. And I'm going to do my grits in the microwave. I used to cook grits on top of the stove. I haven't done that in over a decade. They come out perfect in the microwave, and I'm going to get those started in a minute. And I've got some oil in here. If you see little flecks, that's, excuse me, just flecks of cornmeal. And that's because I have my oil separated. I have, like fish grease, fish oil, oil that I make, if I fried a pork chop or something like that in it. And then I have clean oil, which was, if I cook something that was not meat, like a French fried potato or something like that. I don't fry a lot. But this was from when, I guess, I don't know, a month ago when I did some fish in cornmeal or shrimp that were in cornmeal. The cornmeal is fine floating around in the grease. Notice the old school says grease and not oil, so hey. whatever. But yeah, you want about this much oil in your pan. You don't want a ton of oil, because as you make salmon cakes and when I start dropping them in this hot oil, you're going to see that they kind of foam up. And I've been making these things since I was like 10 years old. 10 years old, yes. So I had to learn the hard way not to put a lot of oil in a pan and to have a pan that is shallow enough so that that foam doesn't, because I've done it before, and when I put the fish in, any kind of fish, it just would foam. The salmon cakes would foam over and grease would be, it'd be a dangerous situation. So don't put too much grease in your pan. Do not put too much oil in your pan. This is just vegetable oil. So any kind of oil that you have, and make sure that you make sure that it is nice and hot. That's about it. I am ready to make these salmon croquettes, salmon cakes, fish cakes, salmon croquettes, salmon cakes, salmon cakes, with, like I said, whatever you want to call them, and they are going to be delicious. It is not hard. You can totally do it. If you've never made these before, it is very easy. And they're so delicious. I have tried to do these in the air fryer. And for me, frying is best for these salmon cakes. And since I don't eat fried things often at all anymore, and I never used to eat it a lot, but I really eat, fried things a lot less now. But frying renders the best results for these salmon croquettes. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started on these salmon cakes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stick around. Eggs, y'all. I forgot to show my eggs. You do need eggs for this. I usually will use between 3 to 4 eggs, and I actually use a ratio of eggs to cut down on cholesterol, which is like 1 yolk to 3 egg whites, or if I have 4 eggs, I'll do 2 yolks sometimes to 4 egg whites and things like that. So don't forget, you do need some fresh eggs for these salmon croquettes to bind them. I'm gonna get started on these grits. I have been making grits for so long that I, just eyeball, the ratio of grits. I know how to make grits for 2 people, a couple people, 10 people. But just follow the microwave directions on your grits and adjust them if you're not used to making them to, whatever consistency you want them. But like I said, I just eyeball it because I have been making grits for so freaking long. So just the grits, let's start them in the microwave. And salt, I add some salt, but not a ton, because I'm going to be adding that cheese, and cheese is salty. So I'm just going to get these in the microwave, and I'm going to start microwaving them while I am making my fish cakes and actually, preparing them and frying them. And these grits are going to be so nice and creamy straight out of the microwave. They're going to be delicious. You're going to see, if you're still doing grits on top of the stove, all I can say is tisk tisk. Some people don't like microwaves though, so I can understand that. For me, I'm okay with it. So I'm going to microwave these grits. They are going to be nice and creamy, and I'm about to start preparing my mixture for my salmon cakes. Alright, y'all, I hope it's not too much background noise, because I got my microwave going with my grits in there, and then I have my fan on low, and it's getting warm already. It's springtime, but especially as it gets hotter, you may hear my fan in the background. It's going to be on, 2 fans on. I do have AC, but the AC is in my living room and in my bedroom, so Hopefully, it won't be too much background noise. You won't hear it, of course, in the when in the winter time, but in the summertime, I'm definitely gonna have fans on because my kitchen gets really hot, and it's my apartment's not centrally air conditioned. But anyway, um, I've got some chopped onion in this pan. Remember, growing up, those of you who are especially 40 and over, but 30s too, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s and up. Our parents used to chop onion. A lot of our parents, aunts, uncles, whatever, used to chop onion, and pieces of onion would be so big dough blow, damn pieces of onion. So I chop my onion not like super fine, but I chop it finely. I don't want big, huge chunks of onion in anything. So I used to hate that. I still do. I hate huge pieces of onion. And I get it. They didn't have the time to be, fooling around with trying to chop the onion a certain type of way. They had a lot on them. But, sometimes it was just ridiculous. So I've opened that can of salmon. You want the juice. Some people pour the juice off. The juice is money. Keep the freaking juice. Pour that juice in. And salmon, what you want to do is just kind of clean it up a little. If you see skin, it's not going to hurt you, but any type of little skin. Luckily, this doesn't have a lot of skin. I've had salmon before that was just full of skin, just skin covering almost the whole thing. This one is pretty good. There's not, a lot of skin action going on here. When you open the salmon up, there's going to be bones. The bones are edible. See, you want to get rid of those though. I take my bones out. So, feel for the bones. Okay, there wasn't that many bones at the top of that one. There's some more bones here. And like I said, the bones of the salmon are edible. Usually I break this up and I do it perfectly and get the middle part where the bones are. This is a very unusual can of salmon because it actually does not have a lot of bones. Usually there's like a row of bones. And this one hardly had any. I'm shocked. But just feel, like I said, they're edible. The bones are so soft and edible, but those like thicker bones, I like to make sure they're not in here, and that's good. So let me wash my hands. Clean hands are, I always say, clean hands are your best kitchen tool. As long as your hands are clean and disinfected, it is good to use your hands. And as long as after you use your hands to do whatever it is you're doing, mixing or with meats or whatever, and you disinfect your hands and the surfaces, it's cool for me. I found a couple stale hamburger buns that I wanted to use up. So I got those. And you just want to crumble, crumple, with your hands. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Flake the bread. You don't have to go through, putting them in a chopper or a blender and making actual breadcrumbs. It actually does disintegrate. You don't want like a big piece of bread like that in there, but just flake it. So I wanted to use up those 2 stale hamburger buns that I had. So these are like 2 stale hamburger buns. I happened to be looking around in my fridge and I was like, oh, let me use this up. Stale bread is so good to use when making like cakes and stuff like that. And here's a piece of my stale wheat bread. So I would say, look at the bread. You don't want too much bread. You don't want too little. I would say when I do bread slices, I tend to do about 3 bread slices. But it all depends also on how much you're making. My grandmother used to make these cakes with this 1 can of salmon, and she would feed a whole household. That's how much eggs and bread she would add. For me, I'm not doing that, so But yeah, she would do that with the salmon and rice, or with especially with the eggs. And she would feed a whole house full of people. I never could understand how she did it, but she, she did. So I've got 3 egg yolks. 3 egg whites. Again, that's 3 egg whites to 1 egg yolk. So I only have 1 egg yolk in here with 2 egg whites. 3 egg whites, yeah. And 1 yolk. So I had 3 eggs. I cracked 1 yolk in, and then the 3 whites. And I do that to, cut down on the cholesterol. And I do that with anything. When I'm making, I don't always do it, but most of the time I do it when I'm making, especially omelets, stuff like that, meatloaf. Now that's what I do. So the egg mixture's in there, a little seasoned salt. The salmon already has a natural degree of sodium in it, so you don't want to have to add a lot. A little onion powder. You don't have to do a lot because you got onion in there. Little cracked black pepper. And this is totally optional, but I do 2 shakes of Old Bay, and I'm good to go. So you want your mixture to not be dry at all. So, you can always have a slice of bread to the side or an egg to the side, so you can make sure if you need to add more egg. If it's too dry, add more egg. If it's too wet, add a little bit more of the bread. So that makes it, good to go. So you don't have to mix it to death. And you don't want to mix it like that. That makes them kind of tough. So just, is that a bone? No. All right. So just mix so that the onion is incorporated. I'm going to do a tiny bit more of the onion powder, just a little sprinkle. I'm going to do a tiny dash of that Lawry's. You do want to make sure that these are well seasoned. And I'm going to tell you what you do to make sure that they are seasoned right. You can do a test cake. That's moist enough for me. However, I would like, there's my microwave. My grits are microwaving for me. I would like a little more moistness. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. That's just a little bit of egg white, mostly egg white with a little bit of yolk. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of that. Yeah, okay, so that's good for me. You want it to be a very moist mixture because that makes your cakes very moist. If you have a mixture that is dry, the cakes are going to be very dry. And people are going to be like, oh, those are not good. And they're not going to want to eat your cakes. And you want people to eat your cakes, right? So that's good. My grease is getting hot. I'm going to check on my grits real quick. And then I'm going to come back and do a test cake. And then if everything is okay flavor-wise, then I can start frying, dropping my cakes in that hot-ass oil. All right. Bye. All right. Be right back. I checked on my grits. My grits are looking good. They've been in the microwave about 12 minutes. Oh, Lord, my spoon done fell in my... Damn. And I shouldn't even be using this little teeny spoon, but... All right. So I add a little more water. I'm going to be letting these go for a while because I want them so, you know, creamy, not too thick, but not too thin. These grits are going to be right. So I'll put these grits back in here, and then I'm going to get ready to do my test cake. I'm going to do this test cake and see where I am. All you need is a little bit of, and also that this test cake helps you to see, you know, how hot your grease is, how hot your oil is. So you can see, you know, if the oil is too low, if it's just right. To me, this oil looks just right. So that's my little test cake. And that's going to let me know, you know, if there's enough salt, you know, if it just, you know, if it needs any more of that. Because that's the only thing that I would put in there. But I think I'm good with salt. I really do. You don't want these to be super salty, but you do want them to be well seasoned, because there's nothing worse than, you know, crab cakes, salmon cakes, anything, you know, meatballs, any type of meat, fried chicken, whatever, anything that is, you know, not seasoned, not salted well enough. So, all right, so this is almost ready, this little test cake. It smells so good, just this little piece. All right, I'm gonna take this out and drain it. I got a little napkin. Oh, what a cutie. All right, let me taste and see. Mmm. Just a dash. That's it. That's all I need. All right, family. I am about to start dropping my cakes. All right, y'all. I'm getting ready to drop these in the hot oil. I'm ready to get these hot cakes in my mouth. I'm ready to get these hot cakes into my mouth. I shape my patties like this. I like them to look cute. They ain't gotta look perfect, but I like them to look cute. Dang, cause I am, wham. Make them as big or as little. You can also make little mini croquettes, mini cakes. Ain't nothing wrong with little cakes, big cakes, little cakes. It's all good. You do not want to overcrowd. And see how they're starting to, you know, foam and bubble? That's exactly what I was talking about. That's why you do not want to ever, because you create a very dangerous situation when you have a pan that is too small, it's not shallow enough, not deep enough, and you put too much oil in, and you put, even if you put 3 cakes in there, but especially if you overcrowd, or if you just put even like, you know, 3 or 4, and it's oil is overflowing, foaming up, it will literally foam to the top and spill out of the pan. So make sure you have enough oil, but not too much. And at this point, I'm going to turn my oil, my jet up. Another thing old school says jet instead of, you know, pilot light. We also say pilot light, jet. So the flame is turned up a bit more. But you don't want it too high. Kind of like a medium, like that. Just like that. And don't do a lot of fooling with the cakes. Do not fool with the cakes a lot. Just, let them get brown on that side. You don't, you can tell, you can look at the edges and see it starting to get brown. You don't want your grease too hot. You don't want the oil to be too hot, but you don't want it too low either when you're frying anything. Now you can get more cakes out of this the more bread and eggs that you add out of this whole can of salmon. Like I said, my grandmother would feed 8 and 10 people in a household of adults with one kid, which was me. Growing up, she would feed all those people with one can of salmon. And she would make, these salmon croquettes, cakes, and she would make, the salmon with the egg and the rice and the vegetable, and she would feed everybody. So, you can stretch this even further. Canned salmon is not really that expensive. A lot of times you can find a sale, but you can also use those little tuna fish cans of salmon. There's salmon that's in the cans that look like tuna fish, but it's canned salmon. If you have 2 of those, you could use one of those and make less if you're just one person eating. And these do pop. Sometimes they do pop. So be careful and don't be, like super close as you are cooking these. So it's time to turn this. You don't want to turn it too soon because then it will be breaking, falling apart. You want it nice and golden brown, just like that. How hard is that? Look at how sexy. Look at these sexy ass salmon cakes. My God, that's sexy. Woo! Mm. Mm. That's so sexy. It's nothing like some sexy cakes. Beautiful. Oh Lord, did I just snort? Friends and family, YouTubers, whomever's watching this, you may hear me make all kinds of sounds when I'm doing these vids because I have really bad allergies, and some videos I'm clearing my throat through the whole video. Some videos I have to go off to the side and cough and clear my throat. My throat is itching. Even with allergy medications, I'm a hot mess. Today is a little better than most days. You might hear me, sniffle and I snort by accident. Hey, this is just me for real in my kitchen. This is what you get is just me. Me and you and I in my kitchen, and sometimes I might drop something. I'm trying to stop saying curse words, but I might break something. I've had a dish fall off my stove and break, and I say a curse word, so I apologize, but that's me. I don't apologize for being me, but like I said, I am trying to stop saying curse words, so you may occasionally hear me say a curse word in a vlog, and I am actively trying to stop. When these are done because the tops are closed in. They look done. You don't have to fry these to death. It doesn't take a long time. You see that I'm frying these in real time for you. So let's look at that. Let's leave that for a couple more seconds. These get ready to come out. I'm going to flip one more time, and then they coming out of this hot grease. It smells so... Let me tell you something. When you make these things, it smells so good in your kitchen, your whole house. And I have all my windows cracked. And, I've gone out to take my trash to the dumpster, and I've made salmon cakes, and if somebody outside, one of my neighbors, is like, you making somebody's frying fish. And I'm, kind of smile to myself because I'm thinking, those salmon cakes have been making this earlier this morning, but they smell heavenly and divine. That's my cheese grits. All right, that's good. They get ready to come out. And family, I have a thingy over here with tray with paper towels. Make sure you drain them very well. Please watch out for popping. If you make these things, you know that they can pop anything that you're frying. Pop, 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 pop goes my mind. You will get used to that. Every now and then I will break out into some kind of song sometimes. Make sure you stir your mixture before you make the cakes, because the liquid will kind of settle. Alright, so I'm going to do this second batch. Sorry about my hand like that in front of the camera. I'm getting used to cooking for an audience, which it has been. Cooking for people watching and explaining is so much different than just being in your kitchen cooking. It really is. So I got about 6 cakes out of this. Like I said, you can totally get more out. You can get less out if you don't like breading. And look at this. I've got a little teeny bit of overflow. So there's a little baby cake. Little baby cake cutie. Alright, family. I am going to get my cheese grits out of the microwave because it went off about 2 minutes ago. And I'm going to come back and start getting my cheese into my grits, finish frying up these cakes, and then we'll be good to go for this hot salmon cake, breakfast. And we're going to be good to go to get some hot cakes in our mouth. Well, I will be anyway. These fish cakes are ready. I'm going to sit them in my toaster oven on low so they can stay nice and hot. And I'm about to get my cheese grits together, and then it's on. It's going down. Okay, here are those hot grits. Do you see what I mean about the consistency? You don't want them runny and liquidy, but you don't want them to be too thick either, especially when you're doing like cheese grits. If the grits are too liquidy and runny, you're going to have liquidy, runny cheese grits. And if it's too thick, it's just going to be like a clump of, it's going to be a hot mess. You don't want them too thick or too thin. Some people will add milk. I'm putting those 2 American cheese slices. And you know what? I had some white cheddar cheese, but damn, where's my white? I know I have some white cheddar cheese somewhere. Oh yeah, no, that's not white cheddar. Dang. thought I had some white cheddar cheese, but I don't. Anyway, I add that. And let's not forget the cheese is very fattening, but it's so delicious. And, you know, if you are watching your cholesterol and trying to eat a bit healthier, you don't want to go crazy on the cheese, but add as much or as little cheese. That was that Mexican blend. A little sharp. I'm also going to try to do a baked cheese grit casserole. Fold in your cheese. Do not mix it and beat it hard. Fold in your cheese. You talking about sexy. Okay, that's good. You don't need to, you don't have to beat and mix this to death once you put the cheese in. Just fold the cheese in, and that's good. It's very warm in my kitchen this morning. It was 83 degrees Friday. Yesterday was 70 something degrees. And today's in the 60s. I'm happy to see warmer weather, but I am not happy about when it gets too warm. So a little butter, and I put a little extra cheese on the top. Right on top. This is for me, an indulgent breakfast. This is Sunday breakfast. Sunday is when I allow myself to have an indulgent breakfast, which is bacon or salmon cakes, turkey sausage, grits, home fries, things like that, only on Sundays. The rest of the week I'm eating Cheerios, which has helped me to reduce my cholesterol. But Sundays is on, because life is too short. Sundays, it is on. So I'm going to do a little cracked black pepper. Whoop, there it is. All right, friends, family, everybody who's watching this, anybody who's watching this, these salmon cakes are ready. They are right. They are nice and golden brown. Look at that. Look at those cakes. Crispy and then tender and juicy on the inside. Look at those cheese grits. Cheesy grits that I did in the microwave. Some fresh fruit. I have a vlog up that if it's not up now, it's going to be up. I've already done it. I just probably need to do a little bit of editing on it, and it's going to be up soon. If not already by the time you watch this salmon cake vlog. Grapes, strawberries, fresh pineapple. That's fresh pineapple. And it has been sitting, apple's been sitting. I didn't have any cantaloupe. I usually add cantaloupe, but I ate it. So, but yeah, this is breakfast. And get ready to fix, plate, and enjoy. These salmon cakes are so versatile. This particular meal is not just breakfast. It's also brunch. Salmon cakes and grits. You can make a baked cheese garlic grit, or you could just do these cheese grits like this in the microwave or the stove, however you do them. They can be brunch. They can be breakfast. They can be dinner. I've also, had a date or something like that and had somebody over, and I have made this salmon cakes and grits, and they were very happy with it. And I'm telling you, if you make this and you are single and you're looking for somebody, you won't be single for long if you make this for them. I'm telling you, you won't. It's so delicious, so easy, inexpensive. You all, thank you for supporting this channel. If you do support this channel, if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If you like and share, thank you for liking and sharing. And I appreciate you taking the time to just watch, because you don't have to. I bid you peace and blessings and goodwill. I hope everybody is doing okay. If you're not doing okay, I will say on, some vids. I don't say it on every vid, but I'm thinking about people and praying. I am not a religious zealot, and I am not a part of any organized religion, although I grew up Baptist, but I am very spiritual and God-fearing, and I do pray, and I'm a praying woman, and I do believe in the power of prayer. And if you are not doing so good, I will pray for you. I love y'all. Do not have to know you to send out love, peace, and blessings and positive energy. All right, that be more chick with that salmon, Solomon, and cheesy grits. Peace out. Take care.